Hi guys, today is the 28th of February 2020 and it's 58 minutes past 2 in the morning over here in the UK. I have been trying to upload this video for a little while now, and I thought I would make this part to put in front of the second attempt that I will try when I try to upload it. I've taken some screenshots just to show you guys how I've been trying to get past this. 236 processing has started. I took this screenshot after about 5 minutes of it being on this stage of processing has started. This is after the video has uploaded, and processing usually takes somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes usually. By 2:40 the situation was still the same. 2:43 situation was still the same. 2:57 situation still the same, and that's the last one I've done just before I decided I would try and attempt to upload it again and see what happens. Hi guys, today is the 28th of February 2020 and it's 52 minutes past 1 in the morning over here in the UK, and I just wanted to quickly talk about this scene here. I was viewing it with a friend today who is Muslim, and he was able to very quickly identify this as being Mecca. And when I looked at the image of Mecca, I thought, I agree. The center there, the way that the track runs around the outside in that kind of iris shape, the tower being represented by the clock tower over here, all seems to line up. If you see that there, you've got the point where the cover would be, that's just here on this side. Clock tower, spire of some sort. Now this is the location of the missile in the iPad Go 2 video, which would correspond to around here somewhere. In between these buildings there is a gap. I don't know if there's any buildings that are in that location that are shorter than the ones that are surrounding it, but potentially this is the area of that aerial attack that we see coming from the iPad Go 2 video. That aerial attack comes earlier in the video, around the same time as we're seeing the words market plunge, which is obviously happening right now with the drugs next to the boy. I read a comment in my previous video on Obama about the drugs that are next to the child being quite similar to the ones used for treating HIV, and obviously I have a HIV interpretation from this video, which is taken from the tower with the old lady and the markings in tally, or the tally marks of 5 which are behind her. Let's go forward a little bit. So just at this point here, my idea was the way that they've done the marks of 5, they've done 2 marks over here, 2 marks over here, and then a line across. With that interpretation, you've got the potential for H on one side, capital I sideways, and then the number 5 itself being represented by the letter V in Roman numerals. So a potential connection to the word HIV, which again may be a loose connection to something similar to the SARS translation, which may be a loose connection to the COVID-19 coronavirus. Aside from that, just going back to the part I was talking about around here, I want to go back just a little bit more. So as the planes come in, there's 3 of them of course, but only one fires a missile and the other 2 do nothing. Maybe those numbers are significant, 3, 2, 1. That could be a potential date reference of March the 21st, which would be significant in the Middle East, because that is basically New Year's, is the New Year, the Islamic New Year, which begins this year at 3:50 a.m. Universal Time on the 20th of March, and obviously it will be New Year's Day, so that will end on the 21st of March at 3:50 in the morning. So perhaps during the New Year's Day there's an attack around the Kaaba and Mecca in Saudi Arabia, and I don't think those triangle planes, they now double layer, they do represent B-2 bombers, but at the same time I also think they represent a drone technology. And the reason I say that is because obviously Iran was accused last year of attacking Saudi Arabian facilities with drones. So if they're going to try and blame someone for this attack, they may try and blame Iran. However, with the Kaaba and Mecca being such a significant site in the Islamic faith, it's highly unlikely that the Islamic region would believe that Iran launched an attack like that, and they would most likely see it as a false flag attack instigated by the United States, which is why I think in this scene here, an interpretation I did before was for this pattern down here, this pattern of markings, which I discovered to be Morse code. Another interpretation different from the tap dancing. This one is just in its normal format, and I took a screenshot, zoomed in, did the translation, and what I got was EMP New York 3 a.m. or potentially 7 a.m. because the 3 could be looked at. The 3 and the 7 in Morse code use the same characters, just in reverse. So I'll put both of those numbers there just in case. But that 3 a.m. reference would allow it to take place within the New Year's Day on the Islamic calendar, which would basically end 50 minutes later, going into March 21st. So there, I think, maybe March 21st, March 20th / March 21st, there may be that attack on on Saudi Arabia, the Mecca and Kaaba, which they try to blame on Iran, but backfires. And instead, we have all of those interpretations with Pakistan, Iran, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, the Shia crescent lighting up across the Middle East, all of that coming to bear. And then obviously from that, we have the light going out on the torch, which again signifies some sort of EMP. Just before that happens, we see that little bit of light just in the center of the eye, similar to what we see in the old lady. She's got the rings around her eyes, and in her eye we see that missile flying later on in the video. Similar situation here. We've got that swirling pattern, we've got that light, and then we've got all the wind as well, so some sort of indication of pressure wave. And then the torch extinguishing, suggesting, you know, the light has gone out. And we know that in that same scene, we also see the tsunami coming in. The tsunami is depicted here, and it's also depicted here, rippling towards the east coast of the United States. So there's my potential warning for March the 21st. Attack on Mecca or Kaaba, leading to an attack on the east coast of the United States. Maybe not the whole. As I said, the interpretation from the Morse code was New York, so maybe a specific target. The Statue of Liberty stands outside New York, and the tsunami wave seems to be localized to that area as well. So perhaps that's the first attack, and then, you know, shortly after that things could happen very quickly. But then my next interpretation comes on to April the 3rd, as you guys know. Is that all? I think that's all for now anyway. And then much later down the year, there's August the 27th, and that's a UK watch. The Queen, the royal family, potential nuclear bomb, all of that interpretation. So you guys, I'm just going to stop it there. I can carry on because there's so many interpretations as always. But just for clarification, if you guys have stayed to the end of this video, it's March 20th / March 21st for the watch on Saudi Arabia, the Kaaba, and Mecca in general. And then following on from that, a potential attack on New York with an EMP, knocking out the power, a potential tsunami coming in after that. Following on from that, April 3rd, the interpretation, maybe LA. I've gotten that from the, who knows, upside down, flash forward interpretation I did just a couple of days ago, or yesterday. Days are just blending together. But yeah, you guys, just keep watch, please. Be careful, be watchful, keep love in your heart, and always persevere. Never let fear take over, even in these tough, dark times. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and may the Heavenly Father bless you.